Welcome to the Naperville Moms Network, a mom-focused talk show navigating the ups and downs of being a mom and woman. My name is Dr. Cathy Suber, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Erica Lopez, Sarita Arellano, and Patty Minglin. We are kicking off today's show discussing social media. Our world has certainly changed, hasn't it? Do you feel that social media plays more of a positive or negative role in your lives overall?
I think social media is such an integral part of our daily lives. I think 70% of this country is using one of the many social platforms, whether it's adults or kids. And it's interesting to think just 10 years ago, probably that was only 20%. So I think what's really changed is easy accessibility on our mobile phones. You can check your news feed 24/7. You can take a picture and write a post instantaneously. You know, and I think with anything in life, it has its pros and cons. It's a great way to connect with family and friends on a regular basis, near and far. So that's really nice to be able to know what's happening in friends and family's life that are close to you. But I think it's our human nature to compare ourselves. And that's the part that gets really tricky with social media. You look at everyone else's lives and feel like everyone's got exciting things going on and that you don't have as much going on in your life. But what I think you have to keep in perspective is you're just looking into a glimpse of someone's life on social media. It's an edited version of someone's story. I like to say it's like getting a Christmas card or a holiday newsletter 365 days of the year. So I think you just need to keep that in perspective.
Right, you see that perfect family in the front and not realizing all the things that happened before the photo was taken that didn't look so perfect. That's it. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I think it is great to be able to show we don't live near family, so it's been really great to show our relatives away, like when the kids do something exciting. But I think, and you were making the comment about how, you know, we compare ourselves, but I also think we no longer even make decisions well without getting opinions from everyone else. There was an article in the New York Times several months ago where one of the writers actually gave up getting his news from technology, and for like 2 or 3 months only would get his news from newspapers, the actual print newspapers. And his theory was, you know, everything is now mixed. Opinions are mixed with truth and facts, and you don't know what is a fact and what is somebody's opinion. And so we no longer can make opinions on our own. And I see that with social media. I mean, it's great when you have this wonderful community where you can say, hey, I need a new pediatrician. Does anybody have a recommendation? Like, that's a really great thing for social media. But then you see, should I wear the red dress or should I wear the blue dress? Or should I wear these shoes or should I wear those? And it's like, oh, no. You should be able to make a decision like that on your own. Like, you should be able to
wear what you want to wear.
Wear what you want to wear. Understand how you feel about it. And so I think that we have to be really careful of what social media has done to our own decision-making skills. Do we really need a community of people on Twitter to tell us we're good or to tell us that we're making the right decision? Like, we should make it that feeling good about ourselves.
Sure. And the likes, you know, how many likes do I have or how many friends do I have? What concerns me is, you know, we at this table didn't grow up with the social media. And we're commenting on the fact that when we sometimes see the highlight reel, you know, from Facebook, that we sometimes feel just a tinge of, I don't know, jealousy is too strong of a word, or FOMO, fear of missing out, you know. And if we feel that way and we're well-adjusted adults, what about the 12-year-old who's watching social media and sees that on Saturday night everyone went to the party because there's 50,000 selfies of it? You know, how do they take in that information and deal with it? You know, because they're still developing. And that's what concerns me, is growing up with having to be liked, having a million friends, taking selfies, putting your life on there. How do we navigate that? Mine are young, but I mean, my daughter knows about Snap. I don't even use Snapchat. She just does it for the fun little filter things. But she is able to do more than I can, and she's 6. So, you know, it's so important that we educate ourselves and stay on top of it. But I don't know how we're able to keep up with them, because the rate at which they're moving is warp speed.
I know every once in a while I get an email saying, oh, we'd like you to join this new social media platform because we'd like to refer business to you. I'm like, oh no, I can't manage even one more.
Right,
you know?
right.
There's sometimes I'm going for a lunch meeting and I'll be like, oh, okay, who am I meeting today? And I do a search on my email first to find if we've corresponded through email. Then I'm like, oh, were we talking on Facebook private messenger? And if so, was it my personal or was it April Moms Network? Oh, wait, it's not there. Was it on LinkedIn? And I'm going through all the different places that I need to remember to check for my business, actually.
Right.
So, and for me, my Facebook business and personal kind of overlaps with being a chiropractor. I think people want to know me because we're going to be working closely with their health care. So I think it's a benefit to me to share a little bit more about myself on social media, even when it relates to my business, because then I'm kind of connecting with people. And by the time some people come in to see me, they're like, oh my goodness, like I feel like I know you because we're connected on social media. So I think it's so wonderful as long as the negatives, right, that emotional positive or negative connection can be managed. And for kids, I think it's a lot tougher, right? It's, you know, when we were in school, we got to go home at 3 p.m. Any type of bullying or any type of stress with a ton of friends kind of went away, unless someone was calling you on the home phone, right, that your mom was on, that like people were getting a busy signal on, right? Like, come on, get off the phone. So-and-so is supposed to call me. That was the only connection you had to school, you know, your school friends. And so some of that stress that I know kids go through daily at school, it never ends. It's 24/7.
It never ends. We just, my youngest son had a concussion, and so he was off his phone completely for a week. And so we had his phone plugged into my home office, and the number of times his phone would beep with a new Snapchat or a new text, like it was constant. And it was constant during the day and at night. Like it was just happening over and over again. And his biggest concern with having a concussion was, what will happen to my Snapchat streaks? Like, well, I guess you're going to lose them because that is like the bottom of the barrel of our point of interest. I'm like, you're going to have a real connection with people outside of technology. You're just going to. And it's hard for them because they have grown up with it. They don't, well, what does that mean?
Right.
That's very true. You know, we all grew up with having, you know, social interaction with friends, but this generation, this has been a big part of their life, and I think it's replacing some of that time. You know, you could get a group of girls in a room and they're Snapchatting or talking to each other through social media as opposed to interacting in the room. So I think it's that balance, you know, that the younger generation might not necessarily have as we do. You know, the two rules with social media I apply for myself or for my kids is you need to have discretion in what you post. Because once you post something, it's there digitally forever. So that's one thing really important. And I think the other thing is in moderation, your use of social media. It can be all-consuming. You know, it's very prevalent in a lot of our homes now where the whole family's at home, but everyone's on their own social media. So I think it's really important that you do preserve that. So use it in moderation.
Yeah, if you go out to like dinner or lunch, right? People are just like this the whole time. I've always tried to make sure I'm instilling in my kids, like someone just walked in the room, look up, right? Let's put down the phone. That, you know, we go to dinner. Let's put down the phone. Let's not be using it. And it's really important, I think, this next generation, if they don't learn those social skills, it's going to put them behind in so many different places. I had the manager of a local restaurant came up to me, and I've known him for a long time, and he said, hey, when does your older son turn 16? I said, oh, in August. He goes, all right, he has a job here. He goes, I've seen him multiple times. He can look me in the eye and have a conversation. And most kids that come in to interview can't even really look me in the eye. I thought, wow. So I went home. I said, look, this is the positive of making sure that you are engaging with people one-on-one, not just through social media. But on the other hand, it's not going to go away. So you do have to learn how to navigate it.
And you need to just use it appropriately. And I think I always tell, when I graduated from college with a degree in English and communications, we didn't have internet back then. And so I graduated basically being able to read and talk, like, and write. Like, those were the
Right,
things.
right.
And now I look back, I said, you should be able to write a complete sentence that doesn't look like a text message. You should be able to look somebody in the eye and have a real conversation with them. And that is going to carry this next generation through. That is going to be the difference in getting a job and not getting a job, getting a scholarship and not getting a scholarship, is really going to be who can have real conversations and, again, write full sentences that have real words and not TXT or LOL. Or
It's funny, too, because I almost see a trend in the desire to get away, a yoga retreat or meditation is becoming more prevalent. Even forms of exercise that are more mind-body connection. And I wonder if that connects to exactly what we're talking about, is just, always being on the internet and always being connected. We have a desire to. We have this innate desire to put it away.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, how enjoyable is it to be at a cabin where there is no internet service? I mean,
Right, you're like, yes, I have no connection.
Right, the first 24 hours are shaky.
Right.
But then the next,
You actually enjoy
you
it.
can take a breath and you enjoy it. And I think it just shows that we crave that silence, that togetherness, those relationships. But it's not going away. So we have to balance it, and that's okay. It's like it is with everything else, and lead by example so that our children see that we're balancing it, so that they see. I mean, I'm in the direct sales channel, so I'm on my phone all the time. That's how I communicate with most of my customers and consultants. But when it's dinner time, I'm not on that phone. It's away. It's being charged. When I'm in the car, I'm not on that phone. And that is what they need to see, is that it's okay for a purpose. But it's not okay when it's, together time.
So they need some limits.
Right.
Kids, and I think you just have to help them set those limits. In our house, when it's study time or after a certain time at night, technology is always checked in on the kitchen counter. I think they need their limits. But, the one thing I wanted to point out was for Naperville Moms Network, I mean, it's been the greatest thing, the social media. It's brought a whole community of moms and resources. So definitely, it has its benefits for a lot of businesses or for social groups.
I always joke with my husband, I check Naperville Moms Network before Google for recommendations.
I do too.
And then you call
value
these
those.
contractors.
You value those.
I do the same thing, and I really do value, and that is the real positive of social media. Like, if you need a new patio, to be able to go to the people that have actually used it and get real commentary and not just a Google or a Yelp thing, like somebody that you actually feel like you have a connection with. Those are the places you go to. She's like, okay, 3 people said this. This must be this is the one to try out.
It's interesting to see people come up to me at events that we have. And one woman, she had moved here from New York City. They knew no one here. They were moving here for her husband's job. He works downtown Chicago. She has 3 young children. And she came up to me almost in tears going, I was connected before I even stepped foot in Naperville one time. I found your group and I went on there and we had our pediatrician, we had our realtor, we found our house, we all these things through this group. So the positives, in my opinion, outweigh the negatives for sure. And I think it's such an incredible way to continue to provide information, to find resources and things like that. So I know I'm kind of a social media geek. I really like it. Sometimes I have to put limits on myself.
Oh, for sure.
So there are lots of pros and cons of a social media world. Pick the benefits you want and try to limit the aspects that drive you a little nuts. We'll be right back with more of the Naperville Moms Network. Stay tuned.